Testing. Is this thing on? We got Mass the dog here. He's joining us. Look at this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Above It All program. This is the program for Monday. Monday, June 5th, actually. Believe it or not, we're in June. It's Pride Month, everybody, so looking forward to that, as I do every year. We got some people joining me today, which is always a good thing. I guess, maybe it's not. I guess I shouldn't say it's always a good thing. I mean, it could theoretically be a bad thing. But I got people here today watching a live show experience, a live stream. A show or stream? What's the difference? I mean, to me, a stream sounds a little bit more adolescent, you know? A show is like adult, you know? Stream is like, that's what kids do. Hey, I'm streaming. Whoa! Hey, Mom, look! I'm streaming! But this is a show. We're doing a program here for adults. So if you're under the age of adult, get the hell out of here. All right. I got a couple things I want to talk about today. Got a couple of clips. Actually, I think I've only got one clip. So hopefully the clip is sufficient. And then, you know, I'll cover more things tomorrow. This is LaCroix's key lime flavor. LaCroix's key lime flavor. So I'm drinking my goddamn fucking stupid expensive seltzer. But I like getting LaCroix every now and then. It really is the best. Polar is my second favorite, but LaCroix, I don't know, man. Anyway, I'd like to say thank you all for showing up today. I guess the last time I did a show was 6 days ago on last Tuesday. It was a long time ago. I'm 27 years old, I guess, at this point in time. So I was going to do a show on Friday, but I was not feeling well on Friday, so I decided not to. But I'm here today. Have I tried Beach Plum? Yeah, Beach Plum is good. My favorite is limoncello. My second favorite is key lime. My third favorite is lemon. And my fourth favorite is a lime. So I like all those variations. But anyway, I'm doing a show. Today we're going to be talking about some things. We're going to be talking about some stuff as well. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so being somebody that reads the news every day and decides for whatever reason to not try and, you know, erase the information from my memory to prevent, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder from living in such a shithole country, sometimes I come across stories that are like, you know, I want to say, like, you know, the child in me wants to say, I told you so, you know, but it's, you know, it's not like anyone else didn't really expect this. I think everyone saw this coming, but I got this epic news story here, and I say epic with a capital E. It is epic, everybody. Tennessee woman gets emergency hysterectomy after doctors deny early abortion care. Tennessee's ban went into effect after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Mayron Hollis said she had just started taking contraceptives when she found out she was pregnant again a few months after giving birth in Feb 22. Despite the surprise, Hollis and her husband say they were excited about the pregnancy and eager to add another child to their growing family. Well, I've got to say this one, that's the first mistake. I mean, having kids in the year 2022 and the year 2023, I mean, I go back and forth on this one, but I'm pretty much like, and I know that there's parents in my audience, and I hope that, you had your kid a long time ago before you knew any better, but I don't know, man. Just the idea, like, I mean, just looking at the world, looking at how the world functions, the only reason I could see having children is a combination of narcissism and just being a boring motherfucker. Like, if you are so bored that you can't think of any other ways to make your life have meaning, that you resort to just like, I'm gonna spread the genes. Gonna spread the genes around. Yeah, that'll give me something to do with my life. I don't know, man. To me, now I know there's parents in my audience. God bless you or whatever, But, in the year 2022, 2023, man, I'm sorry. Just the idea that you would start a family, I don't know, man. I would like to hear an argument. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't heard the right argument as to why having a family now is the best time to do so. But anyway, let's keep going. Hollis, 32, had no idea the excitement would turn into a fight for her baby's life and her own. The Tennessee woman would end up needing a life-saving emergency hysterectomy, ending her opportunity to give birth to more children after she says she was denied medically necessary abortion care at a hospital in her home state for life-threatening complications earlier in her pregnancy. My doctor told me I needed to do the surgery. If I didn't, I could die. The baby could die, Hollis said. Because she had delivered by cesarean section and the two pregnancies were so close together, Hollis's OBGYN was worried she could develop a cesarean scar pregnancy, a type of ectopic pregnancy where the fertilized egg is implanted in the cesarean scar after a previous C-section, which can cause the uterus to rupture, leading to excessive bleeding and even death, according to the National Institutes of Health. Well, I'm glad that the NIH is weighing in, that having your uterus literally explode from inside you could theoretically lead to death. I'm glad that the NIH has come in to really put their foot down on that issue. But I have just a question, for my audience and maybe people watching me, could fill me in, because this is something, to me, honestly, like, I just don't get it. I don't understand having children. I don't understand wanting children. I don't understand having C-sections. Like, there's some instances where, you're fucked up and you need to have a C-section, but I don't know, man. The idea that you would have a C-section and then get pregnant again and not want to have an abortion immediately, I don't know, man. To me, I'm not trying to victim blame here, just to be clear. It's just a whole shitstorm of information here going on in a situation where it's just a roll of the dice. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to have a kid, and that means there's just a good chance I'm going to fucking die because we live in fucking 1312. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't get it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to understand what these people are thinking, and I just don't. I really don't. I just don't. But again, I'm not trying to victim blame here, because obviously the government is killing people. That's what's happening. Is the government is trying their best to kill people, that are just not good enough. They're not desirable, if you will, in the eyes of the government. In August, Hollis found out that she did not, or rather, that she did have a cesarean scar pregnancy, with the pregnancy bulging out of her uterus, and a placenta accreta, a serious pregnancy complication in which the placenta grows too deeply into the uterine wall, and part or all of the placenta then remains attached to the uterine wall during delivery. The condition may cause severe blood loss after delivery. I just want to note, by the way, that humans, just biologically, right? I know biology, not something Americans are good at. Humans, biologically, for whatever reason, I don't know. If you believe in God, it's probably his fault or her fault, but hey, come on now. If you believe in God, that's a whole different problem. But biologically, humans, right, during the birth-giving process, have one of the highest rates of, what's the word? Like matricide? Is that what it is? I don't know. the person giving birth dies during the process. I forget what that word is. Human beings, for whatever reason, we just fucking suck at it. Like, we just can't give birth without a whole host of problems. You know what I mean? Mortality, maternal mortality, whatever it is. There's like a compound word for that. But anyway, just for whatever reason, we're fucking garbage at it, right? But like, the other option is like, okay, we have medicine, right? We have, theoretically we have doctors, we have modern medicine. But it's like, we're not using it now. Like, we're just like, all right, let's just let nature play its course. Now, again, I think that there's a lot of value in letting nature play its course. But the idea that, again, let nature play its course. If problems arise, fix the fucking problems, right? But we live in a society now, where, you just had a little issue? Well, death sentence. Having two children too close to one another is a death sentence. I'm sorry. Hey, who are you to decide to have a kid 2 months after having another kid? Dead. I could hemorrhage because that was already bulging out. I don't know if I want to hear the word bulging in this instance. Hollis was 8 weeks pregnant when she met with a maternal fetal medicine specialist who confirmed she had a cesarean scar pregnancy and sent her back to Vanderbilt University Medical Center for care. Vanderbilt University Medical Center said it would not comment on the case because she wanted the baby. Hollis said it took her and her husband time before they were able to decide that they wanted to end the pregnancy. Now, again, that's your first mistake, is wanting to have a baby. That's your first fucking mistake, right? So, again, not victim blaming. I'm just being honest. Hollis said she was unaware of the changing landscape at Tennessee after the... Okay, now I am victim blaming. Okay, I'm sorry. Next, I'm sorry. Now I am victim blaming. All right, so this mom, I'm sorry. You get the dumb fuck award for today. I'm sorry. You just the biggest dumb fuck of the day. I mean, hey, there's going to be another one tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't know, man. You'd think, okay, it's in the news every day that, Roe v. Wade is overturned. Planned Parenthood v. Casey overturned. It's in the news literally every day that red states are going to literally ban all abortion care or just any pregnancy care, right? And you decide to have a family? I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. Whoa! Like, what else is this dumbass unaware of? You know what I mean? If she's unaware of shit that's in the news literally every day for fucking weeks and weeks and months straight, is she unaware of how to tie her own shoes? Like, I'm asking questions here. I'm just curious. Hola said her doctor did not... No, I'm just saying... I'm sorry, before I continue, I'm not trying to say people should be required to follow the news every day. Like, that's not my claim here. My claim is, if you are going to have a child, you should follow the news. Maybe at least 6 months before you even, I don't know, conceive. You should know something about the fucking world. I don't know, man. Maybe it's too much to ask, right? Maybe it's too much to ask. But if you're going to bring someone else into this planet that we call Earth, you should know something about the planet called Earth. A request. Just a request. Okay. One day before the ban went into effect, medical records show that in the early weeks of her pregnancy, Hollis's placenta accreta had progressed, and she was concerning. According to her medical record, she was 11 weeks pregnant at the time. It was a hard pregnancy. It was scary the whole time. They thought they were going to have to reconstruct my bladder. They didn't know if it was going to touch any other organs, if they could even stop the bleeding if I did hemorrhage. When the couple realized how big the risk was to Hollis's life, they decided it was best to end the pregnancy. Hollis had been offered abortion care since the ban had not gone yet into effect. But when she reached out to her OBGYN to ask for care on August 24th, it was too late. That was the day Tennessee's trigger ban prohibiting all abortions went into effect. Now, again, I'm just like, okay, so you have a fucked up pregnancy. You know it for several weeks. You'd think, oh, I live in a state that's going to ban any health care for me. You should look up what day it is. I mean, I'm just like did that... I know it's stressful. I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to be like one of those, motherfuckers out there victim blaming. I'm just saying, I know it's stress. I understand that. But it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm built different. Like, if I am in a situation where I know that there's a chance I could die, I'm going to look at whether or not the government, which is in the news every day, wants to ban me from going to the doctor. Like, I'm just like, that's something I would want to know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, The ban criminalizes performing an abortion, making it a felony. An exception to save the life of the mother or prevent serious and permanent bodily injury only comes to play when a physician is defending themselves in court. Now, this is something I want to say this. I've said this on my show for a lot of time. A lot of people come up to me as like, oh, that's a good point. You know, I'm educating the masses here. When Republicans put in exceptions for, you know, they love the life of the mother. You know, you ever hear that? You ever hear it's like a short term, you know, like an abbreviation? You know, how do you feel about life of the mother? Well, you know, on the subject of life of the mother, I think we should have exceptions. You know, like that's how they talk about this stuff. Life of the mother, life of the mother. But what does that mean? An exception, again, the default is you're a doctor. You are going to go to court for literally weeks, if not months, lose your job, and face 20 years or 10 years in prison based on the state, right? That's the default. That is going to happen. If you carry out an abortion, even if it's the life of the mother, you are going to court, you are going to lose your job, you're going to lose your income, you're going to, again, this is 1,000% guaranteed. Now, again, the only part that's not guaranteed is, are you going to go to jail? That depends on your defense, right? So, realistically, when it comes to it, doctors, even though they swore an oath to do no harm, are going to do some harm because they don't want to go to court and lose their job, right? It's just that simple. Self-preservation. Okay? So again, whenever you see Republicans talking about life of the mother, this life, you know, rape and incest. That's another one. Rape and incest. You got rape, you got incest, you got life of the mother. All of it means nothing. Okay? It literally is irrelevant. The only thing it does is gaslight people into thinking that they're not as crazy as they are. That's it. And again, Americans are fucking stupid, so they go, well, they said life of the mother, so gee willikers, right? Because most Americans are fucking dumb, right? Like, they're just dumb. Like, that's what I just can't stand how dumb Americans are. Now, again, I'm not trying to be a victim blamer here, but, like, this is a story where you have a dumb motherfucking American operating in a dumb motherfucking country, walking around and, like, shuffling about with a bunch of other dumb motherfuckers that are afraid to save someone's life. You're a doctor, someone is going to die, you know they're going to die. And you're choosing, well, you know, my 401k. Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Like, this is a fucked up situation. You know, it's not good. A separate so-called heartbeat ban that prohibited all abortions after fetal cardiac activity is detected was also in effect. Physicians told ABC News the exceptions are unclear and many worry about the consequences they could face for providing essential care. So again, just to be clear, right? When there is an exception, you have to go to court and defend yourself. For those of you that have never been to court for any reason, I can tell you, going to court fucking sucks, okay? What happens if you sleep in? A bunch of gangsters break into your house unconstitutionally, you know, what happened to the Constitution, we don't know. Gangsters break into your house and point guns at your face if you sleep in a couple hours late, right? So that's what court is. You have to take off of your work, take off of any family engagements, go to a building, sit there for 29 hours in the fucking room. Because it's not like, you know, they can call you on your cell phone and say, hey, we're gonna, you know, you're up on the docket pretty soon here. No, you gotta go to court and you gotta sit there all fucking day, unless you got a good lawyer that's able to, like, maybe you can take an extended breakfast or lunch or something, and then you can wander around the fucking food court or whatever until, you know, like, again, court is a fucking annoying ass experience. And again, that is guaranteed. There is a 100% chance that if you do any of this stuff when you're a doctor, 100% chance you're going to court. That's not, again, because the law is determined in the court. Were you actually engaging to save the life of the mother? That's what the trial is there to find out, right? So again, doctors don't want to go to court. They want to do their job and make their money and whatever, right? So they're just not going, the exception is irrelevant. There is no exception. So again, I need people to understand that there's a difference between the law and the real world. The law is a fantasy world. The law is a bunch of people playing patty cake with each other, singing songs in kindergarten. That's the law. It is completely, like, if you were to have a Venn diagram of the law and the real world, it would be almost like two completely separate circles. I'm willing to imagine that they're touching, but there really is not an intersection. They could be touching. They don't necessarily have to be completely separate, but they might be touching. That would be the Venn diagram. People that pretend that this life of the mother discourse means anything I just hate them all. The media pretending it means anything. Journalists, so-called TV people asking them, hey, well, how do you feel about exceptions for the life of the mother? They're all lying to you. They're all gaslighting you. And they're all psychopathic, insane, fucking genocidal freaks. It's just that simple. But anyway, you can read more of this. Basically, this bitch got fucked up. And it seems that she's still alive, and that's great. But it's like, this is a story that's happening all over the world. You know, this is just one example. All over the world. I mean, you know, all over the world, yes, but also all over the United States, since the right-wing illegitimate Supreme Court destroyed healthcare in this country. And so again, I don't know, man, reading stories like this one, it just reminds me that it's just like humans and society at large, it's just a bunch of animals. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, duh, we're all animals. You know, some people like to pretend that they're not. Usually that's a religious point of view. Religion brainwashes people into thinking, oh, we're better than animals, right? We are somehow better, even though humans fundamentally are the worst animal that's ever roamed this earth. Dinosaurs were better for this planet than we are. Humans are garbage. They're garbage. They're garbage. They're fucking trash. Okay, and, you know, this is my own personal, I'm just having fun here. I mean, if you can call this fun. I fucking hate people. I hate Americans, right? But I also hate people. I hate humans. I just hate them. I've never had a good experience with another person, but for maybe 3 or 4 people ever, that just, like, aren't insufferable fucking just insane psychopathic freaks. And this whole show is just going to be dedicated to how much I hate humans. But like, again, imagine, could you just possibly imagine you are a politician and you want to craft legislation to revoke people's access to going to the doctor? I mean, it's insane. I don't know what to say. I mean, that's just, and everyone else is too lazy and stupid and addicted to their treats to do anything about it. That's the other worst part about it, myself included. Yeah, I saw the SCOTUS destroyed the fucking National Labor Relations Board. Like, they just no longer have any power, basically. Unions are just... Like, if you can sue a union for losing money, right, for striking... That's the whole fucking point of a union. That's the only power that the fucking union has, is the ability to fucking strike. If you make striking illegal, unions are illegal, so congratulations, America. So there you go. Hanging Thief says, I disagree, humans are nice, society is the problem. I disagree, and here's my reasoning, okay? I think individuals can be okay, right? So I agree, individuals theoretically can be okay. Right, but when you have individuals in any group environment, they're gone. They're done. They're robots. They're zombies. They're just irrational fucking savages, okay? Any group. And that also applies to if you are not necessarily in a group, but just around other people. Like if you're in a public place, if you're at a restaurant, right? If you are walking on a street, people are just going to behave differently because they know people are watching, and they're going to behave in a way that makes it so they're one with the crowd. They're one of the zombies, right? And if you get someone in the middle of the woods and you're doing some drugs with them and you're having a heartfelt conversation, that's great. I love that shit. That's my favorite shit in the world. But that doesn't happen in our world. You know what I mean? Like, most people, if it's possible to have an individual conversation with anyone, if it is possible, it's not possible to have a great one. It's, you know, how do you even replicate that? I don't know. Yes, there are genuine people in the world. I think it's a 1% versus 99%. That's just my opinion. And maybe I don't know. Maybe it's 98%, right? I don't know. I'm willing to discuss the numbers on that one. I agree, Hanging Thief. I agree. We did devolve. I absolutely agree. The original... this is a fun history fact for anyone. The original civilizations, right? The oldest civilizations we know about are communistic, right? The oldest buildings, the oldest housing complexes on planet Earth built by humans that we know about. We're talking like 15,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, even further in some instances. Again, you also have sunken cities. That's a whole different. But most of the oldest civilizations and buildings and all of this that we've seen are communistic, right? You had a bunch of houses and they were all built exactly the same. There were no castles. There were no kings. There were no any of that shit, right? Somewhere along the line, Jesus came down from planet Earth and God and Muhammad, and they fucked everything up. You know, again, you know, I don't want to be one of those religion is the root of all evil kind of people, but I mean, let's be honest, man. Like, you know, how old is Judaism? How old is Christianity, right? These are pretty old religions, right? These religions essentially kind of spearheaded the humans are better than everything else and humans are exceptional kind of mentality that kind of bleeds into the, like, you know, the American exceptionalism thing. Like, America's the best country in the history of the world. That all stems from a religious ideology that's like humans are special for some fucking reason. We're not special, right? Old school religions that are older than the Abrahamic religions, are mostly religions that view humans and nature as one and another, you know? That deer and that fawn and that fucking beetle and that fucking bird and us, my grandma, my fucking, you know, grandson, we're all the same. We're all part of nature. That's old school religions. That's my fucking shit, okay? Then somewhere along the lines, you know, Jewish people, Christian people, and Muslim people decided, you know what? Fuck all that shit. Let's kill each other for fun. You know, I'm just saying. Now, again, there's other religions also that are problematic as well. But, you know, very interesting stuff there. And that's the thing, is bad shit happens, and again, humans, instead of dealing with their own trauma, instead of processing their own grief and emotions, they decide to have another kid and fuck up their kid instead. And that's pretty much the root of our issues in society. If people just spent their 20s getting their shit together instead of getting addicted to drugs, you know, and again, I'm one to talk. If people spent their fucking teens and 20s getting their shit together, fixing themselves, healing themselves, and setting up their lives for success instead of getting addicted to drugs, getting addicted to fucking cell phones, getting addicted to Netflix, right? Instead, and just escapism. Now, again, I love escapism. That's one of my biggest issues, is I'm a little too addicted to some of these things. But again, I'm also not planning on having kids. You know, one of the hugest fucking problems is people have kids before they become adults. And I'm not talking about the age chronologically of where you're born on a calendar versus when you're having kids. You can be a child and be 30 years old. You can be a child and be 50 years old. I know those are my parents. When my parents had me, they were children. Emotionally speaking, they were toddlers when my parents had me. And that's a majority of people in this country. When they're born, they are being raised by toddlers. They're being raised by 2- and 3-year-olds that just got traumatized and never emotionally developed past the age of 5 at the very latest. And that's why we're just all fucked up. So, anyway, I got more news here, so we're only getting started. Goddamn. Don James remembered to renew their membership. I heard that this was a really good program. HBD. Thanks. All right, y'all. One thing you see in the news, if you do a news show like I do, or if you read the news every day like I do, oftentimes on Monday morning, today is Monday, you see headlines. Chicago, weekend gun violence, 70 dead in the streets. This is every Monday. Sometimes you wait until Tuesday to see this, but it's every week. Literally, I'm not even... Anyone, like, back me up here. Go open Google News. Go open The Hill. Go open fucking whatever news website, Yahoo, whatever fuck. You know, open any website that you think of when you think of the news. Open CNN, open NBC, open Fox News, for Christ's sake. Chicago, weekend violence, shooting sprees, blah, 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 right? So normally I ignore that shit because it's a bunch of racist garbage. But you know what? Today, I just found there's one Chicago shooting to me that this one I just thought was entertaining. I'm sorry. Like, this is just entertainment for me. The humans are killing each other in the funniest way possible. Let's watch. 7 shot, 1 fatally in Chicago when gunfire erupts amid remembrance for a man killed in a car crash. Now, this one's just great. I mean, like, we're talking about, like, you know, we're at the point where it's like, these are all like derivative headlines, you know, it's like Mad Libs, like, okay, where's our mass shooting? Is a mass shooting at McDonald's or Burger King? How about Wendy's? Where's this mass shooting? Oh, this was at a vigil for someone who died in a car crash. Okay, so this one's great. So someone gets killed in a car crash, right? By the way, this was 4 years ago, according to this article. Someone dies in a car crash 4 years ago, right? People are like, damn, I missed that guy. Next thing you know, one dead, 7 shot. Like, right? Like, that's crazy. 25-year-old woman was fatally shot and 6 other people were wounded early Sunday when gunfire erupted in Chicago during a remembrance for a man who died in a car crash. A large group of people had gathered at 1 a.m. to mark 4 years since a man's fatal crash. Who the fuck is gathering at 1 a.m. for the, I don't know, man. I guess, you know, nighttime for your candles or whatever the fuck. But Jesus Christ, man, go to bed. I don't know. Like, maybe do that shit in the morning. Where a man's fatal car crash where there was an altercation and shots rang out. Deputy Chief R. Ed Nardo said 7 people were wounded and one of them, a 25-year-old woman, was pronounced dead at the hospital. The 6 other shooting victims were hospitalized. They were out there celebrating, and then something happened, and a verbal altercation occurred, and somebody began shooting, or multiple people began shooting, Gutierrez said at a Sunday briefing. He said it's still under investigation, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't know, man. This shit is just funny. Like, this is just funny. It's just funny. Americans kill each other for the dumbest shit in the world. So, okay, think about it. What happens for when you have decades of food poisoning, heavy metal poisoning, destroying people's brains? Decades. Lead in the air, lead in the water, sugar all over the food. Again, did you know, by the way, that 1 in 5 children in this country have fatty liver disease because of the poisoned food supply? We have a poisoned food supply. 95% of Americans are poisoned by the food supply. Look it up. 95% of Americans don't eat fiber. What's fiber? Vegetables. What are they eating instead of vegetables? They're eating poison, okay? 95% of Americans have food poisoning chronically, right? So what happens when you have generations that are born and raised on leaded gasoline, leaded paint, leaded toys that you put in your mouth, and then you smoothly transition. Don't worry, guys, we banned leaded gasoline. We smoothly transitioned into leaded water, into poisoned food, right? People, they become aggressive because 1, they're malnourished, and 2, their brains are stunted at development. Because again, when you eat poison as a kid, when you inhale lead as a kid, your brain does not function properly and it develops poorly and it leads to aggression. There are studies that found that when leaded gasoline was banned, aggression dropped in major cities all across the country significantly. And now again, aggression is on the rise because of food poisoning, heavy metal poisoning, and water, because our water supply in most areas, especially in cities like Chicago, the water supply is poisoned with lead and other such chemicals, rust, you know, and they put in other chemicals to try to clean it, but they don't properly filtrate those chemicals, right? So again, we live in a society where a bunch of people are violent, aggressive freaks, and that's the default. And then what happens? Oh, we also live in the country that has the most guns. So instead of someone punching someone and then, you know, people break up the fight and they like, oh man, I'm sorry, I got carried away. Instead, you pull out the gun and you shoot someone in the head and they're dead. And you can't say I'm sorry because they're fucking dead, right? And that's just the world we live in. And so that's great. Anyway, so I thought, you know what, let's look at Chicago for a little bit. Let's see what's going on in there. But again, this is not unique to Chicago. A lot of conservatives love focusing on Chicago because it's got a high black population, but this shit happens all over the place. You see white people killing each other over the stupidest shit in the world all the time. It's just that that's not like a fucking... There's no news economy that's based on like the fucking giant violent epidemics in like shit fuck Wyoming, you know, which are definitely happening. It's just we don't know about them because the media is not shoveling down our throat. So again, I don't know, man. It's just a little crazy that we live in this country and that no one does anything about it. You ever think about that? Like no one, like we're all just walking around, you know, not doing anything about the impending disaster, you know, like a little weird, but hey, again, it all boils down to most people are fucking stupid, aggressive, violent freaks. That is the average person. That is the majority of people. That is a super majority of Americans. Aggressive, evil, fucked up freaks. That's the country we live in. I'm sorry if that offends you. That's not my problem. Whine about it. Anyway, there you go. New York retrieved 4,000 guns from having a buyback program. That's, you know the phrase drop in a bucket? That's not even a drop in the bucket. That is like one molecule of like hydrogen, you know, like that's it. One atom, I guess I should say, not even a molecule. So many toxic people, it's hard to even want to go on social. I quit social media. I'm done. I'm done with Discord. I'm done with Twitter. You know, I'll log on to like maybe look at it for 10 minutes to find news for my show. That's about it. I'm done. I'm done with YouTube. You know, I'm still doing a show here, but I'm not nearly as interactive. I can't like, I'm done with comments. You know, I'll try to interact sometimes, but I'm done with social media. I'm done. I'm gone. I'm gonna be one of those people. You're gonna see me on this show, and that's it. I'm everywhere else. I'm gone. So, but anyway, let's keep going because there's more. Oh God, there's so much more. This is gonna be a long show. This is something I said is I'm gonna do less shows, quantity, but I'm gonna do longer shows and make them more qualitative, And so longer shows with more stories where I go more in depth. And there we go. So, but anyway, if you hate social media and you want to be nice to me, this is something that improves my mental health, right? Think of it as a free donation. You, without spending any money, can make my quality of life increase. You can go to this YouTube channel and you can watch my videos and you can pay attention to the videos and leave intelligent, thought-provoking comments on them. That is my drug of choice. Someone watches my Doom speedrun, makes a note of something that's interesting and posts an intelligent, provocative, thought-provoking comment. Wow. I mean, I'm telling you, that shit, I get high for hours when I read that. So just throwing that one out there. Anyway. This is some really funny stuff. I mean, I hate to start all of my news segments with this is really funny. Because I know, like, you know, people dying, you know, people going to the doctor and the doctor said, sorry, the law told me I can't save you. You know, we're all killing each other with guns. There's a pandemic going on and everyone's pretending it's not real, right? So none of it is funny, but, like, also humor is my way of coping. I use humor to just, like, not want to kill myself on a daily basis. And so when I say that this is funny, that's the lens of the humor for me. This is really funny. California investigating whether migrant flight came from Florida. A migrant flight. Now, what do you think about this, right? Like, is this like a terror attack? Did some motherfuckers from Guatemala hijack a plane and fly over to California? Like, what is a migrant flight? Like, what is that? Like, what are we talking about here? All right, so let's find out. California Attorney General Rob Bonta is probing whether migrants flown by a private plane. A private plane. A private plane. To Sacramento on Friday without prior arrangements in place to be sent from Florida. We are investigating the circumstances by which these individuals were brought to California, Bonta sent a statement. We are also evaluating potential criminal or civil action against those who transported or arranged for the transport of these vulnerable immigrants. This is one of those memes. And I use the word meme in like the Richard Dawkins sense. You know, you ever read The Selfish Gene? I read that shit in high school. But this is one of those memes that Republicans, they think is like, okay, so we're going to spend millions of dollars to, like, send a bunch of immigrants. Now, again, I just want to be clear. These are legal migrants. Like, that's the funny part about it. Like, is Republicans simultaneously think that, like, illegals are running through the border, but then they're also, like, anyone who's got a skin tone that's, like, slightly darker than my own is an illegal, right? So, again, anyway. But they're just, like, spending millions of dollars on sending immigrants all across the country thinking it's like an epic own or something. You know, I don't understand. Like, I don't know, man. Like, if you have millions of dollars at your disposal, like, I don't know, fix the potholes, fix the water, you know, like, I don't know, maybe subsidize gas a little bit more. Like, but instead, they're spending millions of dollars sending immigrants across the country for no reason. Like, there's no, like, okay, you sent like 10 people to California. Okay, great. Now what? Like, that was worth millions of dollars? That was worth renting out a private charter flight to send like 15 people to California? Like, for real? Like, but again, this is like Republicans think that this is like, yeah, bro, we're owning the Democrats right now by, like, you know, we're like sending them migrants and it's like epic owned. And it's like, what? I just like, what do you mean? Dumbass shit. While this is still under investigation, we can confirm the individuals were in a possession of documentation purporting to be from the government of the state of Florida. While they continue to collect evidence, I want to say that this very clearly state-sanctioned kidnapping is not a public policy choice. It is immoral and disgusting. Now, again, this guy's talking a big game. But is the Attorney General of California going to sue the state of Florida? Because if not, I don't give a fuck. It really is that simple, right? Like, instead of saying, wow, we really need to look into this, you know, we really need to look into this. This shit's been happening for over a year now, probably closer to 2 years, that Republicans have been, like, flying migrants all across the country, busing them all across the country. So you're now telling us we need to look into this? We've known that they've been kidnapping people for literally over a year, if not 2 years. I don't really remember, you know, how long ago that this has been a Republican meme. But unless you're announcing that I, the Attorney General of California, am suing the state of Florida, I don't give a fuck about this. I don't give a fuck. 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 Shut the fuck up and do your job. That's really all it is. You can say, okay, it's kidnapping. It's immoral and disgusting. And what are you going to do about it? You're the Attorney General. I think it's immoral and disgusting. I think it's kidnapping. You know what? I'm not the Attorney fucking General of the largest, most populous state in the country. It's also the 5th largest economy in the entire fucking world, by the way. So, I don't know, man. You have a lot of power, right? Like, you know, a lot of power. And we'll see. Will they do anything? Probably not. And there you go. So anyway, so this is just this guy talking a big game. And Republicans are still busing and flying people, spending millions of dollars to send people to other states, thinking it's like funny or something. I don't even know what they think at this point. Like, it's so clearly like not even like, it's not even getting headlines anymore. Like, I had to like go to like page 5 of like a news website to like find this shit. Like, so no one even really cares about this fucking shit, right? So, but whatever, you know, who cares? I don't care either. Let's be honest. Fuck them. But again, I'm not the Attorney General of the largest state in the country. If I was, maybe I would care and do something about it. But that's the thing with these fucking these Attorney Generals, is they're a bunch of all talk crybaby losers. They don't do any fucking thing. They won't bat an eye at sending, you know, people to jail for smoking weed or buying weed in the wrong way. Because that's the thing, by the way, in California. They have legal weed, but if you buy weed incorrectly, you can also get sent to jail still. Because, right? So they don't mind about that. They don't mind sending people to fucking jail for the dumbest shit in the world. But I don't know, man. Kidnapping and spending millions of dollars on kidnapping, maybe we'll look into it. Maybe we'll wag our finger a little bit. Because, hey, you know, why exercise power when you can just play Mario, I guess. I don't know. Oh boy. Alright, let's get into some clips. And by clips, I mean singular. One clip. Alright. So, there's a Republican primary going on. There's also a Democratic primary going on, but we're not supposed to talk about that. So, zip. There's a Republican primary going on. And whenever there's a Republican primary, it pretty much turns into who can out Hitler the other Hitler. That's pretty much every Republican primary. And so up next, the subject of this one is going to be Nikki Haley here. So I got this clip from Nikki Haley, and I shouldn't have, spoiled it with the text there, but this clip is crazy ass shit. So for whatever reason, CNN is doing a town hall with Nikki Haley. Again, are they doing a town hall with anyone on the Democratic side? Oh, my bad. But anyway, Nikki Haley is going to talk, this is the thing, again, who can out Hitler, right? The other Hitler, right? So when you're going up against Trump, wow, right? Whoa. Trump, he is like Hitler 2.0. That guy is like Hitler on crack. You ever play the game Wolfenstein 3D? At the end of the game Wolfenstein 3D, you fight Hitler, but not just any Hitler. You fight Hitler in a robot mech suit with machine guns all over him. That's Donald Trump. So what's Nikki Haley going to do to out Hitler the other Hitler? Let's find out.
Want to start with biological boys playing in girls' sports. That's one thing. The fact that we have gender pronoun classes in the military now. I mean, all of these things that are pushing what a small minority want on the majority of Americans, it's too much.
Now, again, small minority Republicans. Republicans are about 20% of the population, and they control the entire government in every state and federally. You might be thinking, well, don't Democrats have the White House? Yeah, but I mean, did you see the debt ceiling fiasco? Republicans control the White House too, right? But anyway, and it's about 20% of the country. A little less than that, actually. I think maybe it's closer to 17% of the country. So again, that's pretty fucking funny. But it gets worse.
It's too much. I mean, the idea that we have biological boys playing in girls' sports, it is the women's issue of our time. My daughter ran track in high school.
So again, I just covered a story, literally 40 minutes ago, about a woman almost dying because her doctor said, I know you're going to die if we don't give you an abortion. And I'm sorry, the law says I'm not allowed to give you an abortion, so have fun dying. Now, thankfully, she was able to survive, right? But again, many people are dying in that fashion, right? So, it's the biggest women's issue of our time is that there's kids are playing sports. That's the biggest issue of our time. The kids are playing sports. But it gets worse.
I don't even know how I would have that conversation with her. How are we supposed to get our girls used to the fact that biological boys are in their locker rooms? And then we wonder why a third of our teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year? We should be growing strong girls, confident girls. Then you go and you talk about...
Now, I just love that the chyron is how do you define woke? That's just the best part. This is, you could tell me that this is an AI generated video and I would be like, oh, okay. Makes sense. Okay. So, let me get this straight. Cisgender girls wanting to kill themselves, not because of unrealistic beauty standards, not because of a dystopian failing, system of capitalism that's making everyone suffer and be poor forever. Not because of their restrictions from going to the doctor, but because someone in another state might be playing sports. Now, again, the idea that this dumb shit for brains whore bitch, Nikki Haley, that's what she is. She's a shit for brains whore bitch. Tell her I said that. The fact that she's going to cry about suicide rates. I know, again, it's who can out Hitler the other Hitler, right? So it's what do you do? Well, we know that the transgender suicide rate is extremely high, and it is one of the most heartbreaking things in the world. So what do? We turn that against them and say the trannies are causing the real girls to kill themselves, and it's all their fault. I'm a Republican. Vote for me. Like, I don't even, like, where do you even start with that? Like, I don't even, like, I mean, like, and again, like people, like, now I know she's gonna get negative 6% in the Republican primary. That's already a foregone conclusion. She's gonna get like negative 9,453%. No one's gonna vote for her. But it's like, why is CNN bringing her on the show? Like, CNN, oh well, we care about giving all the candidates. But where is the Democratic town halls? My bad. Not supposed to talk about that. So it's like, why is CNN just letting this person do this shit? I don't know, like, are you gonna push back? No? Okay. And by the way, this is some Hitler shit. I mean, I accidentally froze on this freeze frame, but like, this is some Hitler shit. Like, I'm just like throwing this out like on the body language, right? Like, I see this and I'm like, who does that remind you of? Hey, yo, like, who does that remind you of? You ever see Hitler speeches where he's karate chopping the air and everything? Like, I don't know, man. I'm just like throwing that one out there. But wow, things are really going well on the Republican side of the primary. And good thing there's only one primary going on. Otherwise, we may have to diversify where we are, getting our clips from. But anyway, there you go. Y'all, I'm going to turn my air conditioner on real quick. So brace for impact. The next stories... In fact, I'm going to go pee too. Give me a break. I got a couple bangers that I want to talk about here. So if you thought that this program was already a little antsy and angry, I'm going to get a little bit more so. So I'll be right back. I'm taking a midstream break. Yeah, that's right. Let's check this out. Hello? Hello? Alright, where's this fucking shit? Alright, y'all. Welcome. This is part 2 of the Above It All programmed live show experimental experience. So, I've got my air conditioner. It's actually right there. It's on now. And my air is currently being conditioned. I don't know what the volume level of the air conditioner is, so if it's loud, oh well, get used to it. Alright. Anyway, just once again, like, man, look at this fucking Hitler shit. Like, if anyone wants to make, like, a fucking, left-right, kind of thing there, I mean, there you go. I just, like... Wow, I don't even know how to start this. Alright, let me think for a moment on how to intro this. You'll understand why. We live in... Again, I hate to say this. I know it's like a right-wing meme, but we live in a 1984 type situation here. And I want to show you a headline that I honestly, like... Reading this is like, there's parts of me that it's just like, it's so funny that, like, people are this stupid, but it's, like, tragic that I have to live in a world with them. So check this out. This is from the LA Times. Opinion. Now, this opinion is by Peter Chin Hong. We've made huge advances against COVID. Why is it still killing so many people? Like, you ever, like, just walk around in this country? You ever just walk around and just, like, look at the freaks? You ever just do that? Like, I'm talking 95% of Americans. Freaks. They're carnival attractions, right? They're freaks. I don't know what to tell you. 95% of Americans. They're fucked up. All right? They're garbage. They're insufferable to be around. They're freaks. That's most people. Now, if you want to debate that in the comment section, whatever, feel free. Reading headlines like this, again, the reason why I say that this is a 1984 type situation is because we're supposed to believe that COVID is simultaneously over and it's not a threat. Everything is fine. Vote for the Democrats because they fixed the problem. By the way, hundreds of thousands of people are still dying. Now, I covered a segment last week on my show where a doctor was cheering, literally, a smile on their face. It was insane to watch. They're like, well, the good news is that only disabled and old people are dying, and, you know, great news, guys. Only 250,000 people a year are estimated to die. So we can go on living life as normal, 250,000 people dying. You want to go out to eat? Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, okay? When I say this, and I mean this sincerely, this pandemic has completely, irrevocably, irreparably damaged my perception of the people in my species, if you want to even call them that. I am, and I say this with complete honesty, I sincerely believe that at least 90% of Americans are zombies. They don't have what you and I may have, what we call consciousness, self-awareness. They don't have that. We're not talking about like 20% of people. We're not talking about like we're talking about most people. Now, do I think that this is a thing about humans? No, I don't. I think society exists to destroy your self-awareness. When you are a child, school, parental structures, society at large is designed to strip you of individuality, to strip you of critical thinking, and to make you become one with the herd. Okay? That is the default. So I'm going to read this opinion. This is an opinion piece, you know, so who knows? Now, again, I'm not even going to say that this opinion piece could go either way. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't read it yet, okay? I wanted to save it for the show. So this opinion piece, we've made huge advances against COVID. Why is it still killing so many people? It's very possible that this is a good piece. I just want to say it's very possible that this is a good piece about why is it killing people because people refuse the vaccine. Did you know, and I'm going to get more into this later, that 84% of Americans are anti-vaxxers? That may be news to you because you're a fucking idiot and you don't read the news. 84% of Americans refused a free, effective, safe vaccine. 84% of Americans said, oh, free healthcare? Nah. 84%. Look it up. Look up the bivalent vaccine efficacy rate. Right? Look up the vaccination rate. Look up all of this information, and you will find that 84% of Americans refused a safe, effective vaccine. That's free, by the way. It's free. It's free. So why is COVID still killing so many people? Because they're all fucking stupid. They're stupid. I need you to understand. If you don't believe in COVID, I actively pray, and I wish I believed in a God, for your demise. I do. The sooner you die, the sooner all of these people fucking die. I don't care if they're your grandma. I don't care if they're your best friend. The sooner these eugenicist, neo-Nazi freaks fall off the fucking face of the planet, the better for the rest of us. Yes, I sincerely want 84% of Americans who refuse the vaccine. I hope they die. And I'm not even fucking joking with you anymore. Okay? Maybe a year ago, I would have said that in jest. Now, I don't. I hope they die. I hope they fucking die. I actively participate in a world where these people are trying to kill me because I want to go outside. I have to risk death going outside. I just had my birthday. Now, again, I don't like going outside anyway. But the idea that I just had my birthday and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if I could go to a restaurant and have a nice meal? Oh, wait, there's a pandemic. I have been in my house. I have been in my house for years. For years. Because the fucked up freaks are taking too long to die. Hundreds of thousands a year? Not enough. We need millions until these fucking guys die. These fucking shit for brains Americans fucking die. That's it. I want them all to die. And I will say this. Death to America, and more importantly, death to Americans. Because Americans are disgusting savages, okay? With all that being said, let's read the article. Many immunocompromised and older people are still terrified of COVID. As a transplant infectious disease doctor on the front lines, I understand why. In the first 5 months of 2023, COVID caused more than 37,000 deaths in the U.S. Now, again, I don't believe that that number is accurate. Why? The CDC stopped counting COVID deaths. They changed the metric. You may not have known this, but they changed the metric for COVID deaths a year and a half ago. They changed the metric. And also, you know what? Republican states, they stopped declaring and counting COVID deaths over a year ago. So when you see something like more than 37,000 deaths in the U.S., that is, not only is that an undercount, but we're talking about, we literally have no possible way of even knowing the number, to the point where giving a number like this is disinformation. Even having a number, this is disinformation. Because this is telling people, oh, it's only 37,000. No, it's not. We don't know. Why don't we know? Because the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, prevented us from controlling the disease. It's just that simple. It's a 1984 world where they're telling us that they're preventing the disease. Meanwhile, they're actively engaging in its spread. I don't know what to tell you. That's eugenicist, right? That's eugenics. If you are actively engaging in behavior that you know will kill people that are disabled, and you do it intentionally, and then disabled people die, I don't know what to tell you, okay? A typical toll from the flu in an entire year, which is already fucked up, that we just let 37,000 people die every year before this pandemic from the flu. What is the flu, by the way? Because the same shit happened in the last pandemic. I learned this a while ago, and this shit really changed how I view the world. In 1918, there was what was called the Spanish influenza. It was a global pandemic, right? Now, it came out of Kansas, USA, but they called it the Spanish influenza because, well, America, am I right? Those Spanish has got a real go. Wow! Right, so we called it the Spanish flu, because why not? Even though it came out of Kansas. What did we do? We gave up. In 1919, we gave up. And that's what the flu is. The flu is an evolved strain of the 1918 pandemic that never went away. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. Now, there's different kinds of flu, right? The flu is a general catch-all term for whichever strains are dominant in that season. But I need you all to understand, the last pandemic we gave up, and we just let 40,000 people a year on average die over the course of 100 years. Over the course of 100 years. 100 times 40,000. What is that? Look it up for me. Do some math. And now, We're all supposed to cheer when the acceptable death count 5x's from 40,000 to 250,000, which is what some other guys are saying. And that's good news. It's good news that the acceptable mass death of disease went from 40,000 to 200,000. That's positive news in the United States of America. So I say this. Americans want to kill me? Right back at you. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, my microphone. Got technical difficulties here, folks. All right. In the first blah, 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 death rate of at least 100,000, scientists estimate an annual COVID death rate of at least 100,000, dwarfing other infectious diseases. And the virus, currently making up about 15% of cases nationally, XBB.1.16 subvariant, is expected to be dominant strain by summer. Wastewater surveillance is also showing an uptick in the virus in New York City and elsewhere. Meanwhile, the federal public health emergency ended last month, and across the country, the pandemic has moved to back of mind. It's not surprising that the most vulnerable feel left behind. Oh, wow, yeah. I do feel left behind, I do. And I'm not talking about the Nicolas Cage movie, which is a hilarious movie, by the way. If you want to get high and watch a movie, Left Behind, Nicolas Cage. Check it out. It's really funny. I do feel left behind. And you know what? I don't want to be left behind. So this is what I say. I say, let the sheep kill themselves. 100,000 a year? That's rookie numbers. Can we get 1 million a year? Come on. Come on. Kill the fucking Americans. I'm pro-COVID. I'm being honest with you. At this point in my life, I wish and pray, and I don't believe in God, but I wish and pray that COVID kills as many people as possible. And I don't want to be in this position. Now again, I will say with an asterisk, I don't want COVID to kill people that are in my position. People that need to go to the doctor a couple times a year and catch COVID because the fucking hospitals are not, like, think about this. Hospitals have revoked mask mandates. Hospitals. The one place that you're supposed to feel safe, right? The one place where you are supposed to feel safe. And now they're fucking killing you, right? So I'm saying this. Anyone who is in a position where they're immunocompromised, they have a high risk factor. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do other than actively wish for everyone else to die. What else is there? Like, when am I going to be allowed to go outside? Right? I value my cognitive abilities. We know COVID destroys your brain. We know COVID is linked to an accelerated risk of dementia. This is fact. We have studied this. There are people, I'm 27, there are people my age that have been diagnosed with early onset dementia after repeated COVID infection. I don't want that. And so what is my alternative? I'm waiting in the vault like it's Fallout, waiting for the nuclear winter to pass, and waiting for the radiation in the air to be so low that I can go out and breathe the oxygen on the landscape. This is Fallout for me. Anyone ever play Fallout? That's where I'm at. We're in Fallout. I'm waiting for the fucking world to be safe. And you know what? I don't want to wait that long. So this is why, again, I actively root for people to die. I'm at that point in my life. If that gets me demonetized, whatever. If I get a YouTube strike for that, I don't give a shit. Because you know what? I'm tired of everyone else not giving a shit. So, I don't know what to tell you. Let's keep going. Yet, at the same time, health professionals are optimistic about today's anti-COVID arsenal. Biomedical advances have revolutionized our ability to thwart serious disease and death from the virus, even as it mutates. The bivalent vaccines are about 70% effective. Now, again, I'm going to show, I have another article here. Let's just check this out, like, real quick. This is what I'm going to cover next. Most U.S. adults are declining COVID boosters as CDC warns of health risks, relatively little protection. Okay? So that's a Fox News article that's an anti-vax propaganda. Again, 84% of Americans have refused the vaccine. So if the vaccine is 70% of effectiveness and no one got it, then the 70% effectiveness of the vaccine is irrelevant. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter! And if taken in the first days of infection, Paxlovid or Remdesivir are as much as 90% effective. What they're not telling you is that there's a shortage for a lot of these things. Why? Because the virus is mutating. So, again, I didn't know which direction this piece would go into, but now I'm leaning into the fuck you direction. We are at the lowest point in the pandemic for hospitalizations and deaths. And again, why is that? Because they stopped fucking counting the fucking numbers in half the fucking states. They stopped fucking counting the fucking numbers in fucking half the fucking states. When you stop fucking counting fucking numbers, of fucking course the fucking numbers are fucking gonna go motherfucking down. Like, again, I really, like, I'm sick of this Twilight Zone shit, motherfucker. I am sick and fucking tired of living in this world where people in the media know less about the media than I do. I'm a high school dropout. My only thing that I do is I read the news every day. And somehow I am more informed than every single motherfucker in the media. I, a high school dropout with no qualifications, no degrees, am somehow more informed than everyone. Doctors, I have more information on the pandemic than doctors. How is that possible? How is that possible? I don't know. I don't know how that's possible. I really don't. Jesus fucking Christ. The average person being infected with COVID now has mild symptoms. Yeah, what about the millions of people that died? By the way? Are we going to talk about them? Right, so, okay. When millions of motherfuckers over the planet die from COVID, statistically speaking, the people that don't die are going to be more likely to be able to survive it, right? So again, the fact that the percentage rate of people's survival is going up when millions of motherfuckers are dying doesn't really tell us much. Many of the protections we've developed can help the most at-risk people. Theoretically. And again, hopefully you got health insurance. So why are so many people still dying? And how do we reconcile those numbers with the vast improvements in our COVID tools? So let's see. Can this piece actually have any value whatsoever? Because so far, we're at a 0 out of 10. F on this piece. The disparity points to a continued public health failure to take full advantage of those tools and communicate the evolving risk of this phase in the pandemic. Yes, agreed. COVID never treated all groups equally, and some older people and immunocompromised individuals still face the highest risk of serious illness. That's a fact. But the calculus is nuanced, especially in light of treatment advances that should be used to protect more people. You want to protect immunocompromised people? You want to protect people that have risk factors? Wear a mask. I'm telling you this right now. If you go outside, I don't care if you're watching my stream, I don't care if you give me money, I don't care if you're a subscriber, a member. If you watch my stream and you're listening to me right now, and you have ever left the house throughout this pandemic and gone to a public place without a mask on, I hope you die. Unsubscribe, go fuck yourself. I hope you die. You go to the grocery store without a mask, I hope you die. You go to a bar without a mask, I hope you die. You go to a restaurant without a mask, I hope you die. You go to work without a mask, I hope you die. I don't give a fuck. Unsubscribe, fuck off. To start, the immunosuppressed population is diverse. Most of these individuals, including patients on immunosuppressive medications such as corticosteroids and biologics, responded well to the COVID vaccines, which do offer them a strong layer of protection even for severely immunocompromised people, namely a fraction of those with malignancies or autoimmune disorders. And it's not, again, this is another aspect of this, is that it's not just people with immune disorders. You can have any amount, any risk factor, such as obesity, which, by the way, half of Americans are obese. Metabolic dysfunction is a risk factor for COVID. You want to know what the percentage of Americans that have metabolic dysfunction is, which is a risk factor for COVID? 93% of Americans, look it up, metabolically ill. 93% of Americans. Doctors have said that a low functioning metabolism is a risk factor for COVID. 93% of Americans have a low functioning metabolism. The media is like, well, don't worry about that, everyone. You're average. You're average. Somehow we've turned a world where average and normal equals healthy, which is not the case. The norm and the average is unhealthy. Most people are unhealthy. So when you say, oh, normal people are average people, what you're saying is sick people. Because everyone is fucking sick. There's no such thing as healthy in this fucking culture, in this fucking country. We don't have health. We abandoned health years ago, if we ever cared about health in the first fucking place. Overall, the elderly population remains most vulnerable. Currently, more than 90% of COVID deaths are people aged 65 and older. However, given the immunity, as measured by antibody response, wanes fastest in that age group, it is likely the unboosted who remain at the highest risk, not the entire population, and research suggests that giving Paxlovid to a greater number of eligible patients would reduce deaths. All of this makes clear that COVID does not have to be so dire for older individuals if we ensure that more are up to date on boosters and have access to the full range of therapies. How about, I don't know, not having them get COVID in the first fucking place? Nah. That points to two steps our political and public health leaders should take. First, more vigorously promote the recent bivalent vaccines, especially to populations that need it most. Only 43% of those 65 and older and 17% of Americans total have received the boosters to date. So, this is actually interesting that they're putting this in the article. They don't want you to know that 80% of Americans have refused the vaccine. So, it's interesting that, now again, this article started on a 0. I'm going to say, from that alone, this is a C. C grading on this opinion piece so far. Second, reduce barriers to Paxlovid and other early therapy use. Now, again, this is all like a bunch of garbage also. I just want to say this much. Like, this is a bunch of garbage, okay? Because none of this matters, all right? Like, oh, the White House, why don't you do something? Why don't you do something? They're not going to fucking do anything. They're not gonna fucking do anything. So this whole fucking shit is pointless. Now again, other than of course this, because this tells you how fucking depraved and stupid Americans are. And that's the other thing. I have said many times that I hope that people who refuse the vaccine die. And you know what? People tell me, well, they don't know. Can you really blame them? They don't know. They don't know anything. They're just a bunch of kids. They're a bunch of little puppies wandering around the world. They don't know. They don't know that a vaccine came out 10 months ago. Why are you being so rude? They don't know. It's the government's fault. Really? It's the government's fault? Now, I agree. It is the government's fault. Who elected those politicians? The people. The same people who don't fucking read the news. The same people who you are trying to convince me have not heard of a vaccine in the last 10 fucking months. You want me to believe that people, that I'm supposed to respect people that don't know about the vaccine? 10 months we've had a bivalent shot. Bivalent means it's actually tailored to the currently, well, at least circa 10 months ago, currently the variants that are currently being transmitted across the country, right? So again, you're telling me they just didn't know. Now, if they don't know, fuck them. I hope they die. And if they did know and they refused, fuck them. I hope they die. It's just that simple. If you're an anti-vaxxer, I wish death on you. It's that simple. If you don't wear a mask when you leave the house, I hope you die. The sooner, the better. Because I want to go outside. I want to go bowling. I want to go to an arcade. I want to play laser tag. So the sooner you fucking die, the more quickly I can go play some fucking laser tag, okay? It's really that simple. I'm done. I'm done with these motherfuckers. In addition, the federal government should continue to provide funding. They're not going to do that. Finally, public health leaders need to improve communications. This is the thing, is that, like, this idea that we're supposed to believe that it's like, oh, the public health leaders, they're not actively trying to kill people. They're just really bad at their jobs. They need better, communications? No, they want you to die. They are trying to kill you. Like, this is like saying, Hitler's policies, they're really killing the Jewish people. What we really need is Hitler to better communicate why, the motherfucker, the goal is genocide. The goal is genocide. They're trying to kill people like me. They're trying to kill old people. They're trying to kill immunocompromised people. They're trying to kill trans people. They're trying to kill women. They're trying to kill us. This idea that communications is a factor. Anyway, this article goes back down to D. It's a bunch of garbage. But that's not it on COVID. I got more. So... Vitingale, I'm not blaming the genocided. I'm blaming the people that are in the crowd hailing Hitler. If you leave the house without a mask on, you are a Nazi. In the same way that if you pointed out where the Jewish people were in your neighborhood, you are a Nazi. It's that simple. No, I'm not blaming the genocided. I don't even know how you could perceive that that's even remotely related to what I said. I want the people that are marching in lockstep with the Nazis to be killed so I don't have to and people in my position don't have to be. It's that simple. I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to be rude, by the way. I'm in a antsy mood. Also, thank you for the re-membership. I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to go into this next one here because I just want to touch on this. This is a Fox article. So, I'm going to jump on this. Most U.S. adults are declining COVID boosters as CDC warns of health risks, relatively little protection. Now, straight out the gate, hopefully I don't get a YouTube strike for just even talking about this. Obviously, this headline is, what is it? Medical misinformation. It's even disinformation. What they don't want you to know is that the vaccines work. It's just, you need to get a re-up every 5, maybe 6 months. They don't want you to know that. Now again, think about it. 80% of Americans have refused the vaccine. 17% of Americans have gotten the vaccine in this country. 17. Not 70. 17. And Fox is telling people, this is my problem with this, is they've already won. The anti-vaxxers have won. They are the winners. They are the winners, and they're still fighting a war that they've won years ago. They won the war years ago, and they're still fighting it. What are you, a fucking Vietnam veteran, motherfucker? Are you having flashbacks? You guys already fucking won! Jesus. Adults who aren't current on their COVID-19 vaccine booster doses may have relatively little remaining protection against hospitalization compared to those who haven't been vaccinated at all, suggests a new study from the CDC. So the CDC says if you got a vaccine 2 years ago, it's pretty much nothing now. What does Fox News say? Vaccines are not good. So the CDC says you need a booster shot to maintain your protection. Fox News says, death to the vaccine. What? Like, again, these people are just fucking stupid. The average American is just a fucking dumb shit-for-brains asshole. I really don't even fucking know what to say. The study spanned multiple states and examined more than 85 hospitalizations of people with COVID-like illness. Now again, the counts on all of this, red states stopped counting COVID. Dr. Shauna Johnson, a physical medicine and rehabilitation physician in Scottsdale, Arizona, was not involved in the CDC study but reviewed its findings. The good news, Johnson said, is that bivalent mRNA vaccines protects against the most severe COVID-19 outcomes, including hospitalizations and critical disease. Johnson said the not so good news, the durability of or duration of protection was not great. So again, headline, don't get them, don't get them, don't get them, right? Body article, yeah, you should probably be getting them more frequently. For adults, the vaccine effectiveness dropped 62% at 2 months after vaccination to 24% at 4 months, 4 to 6 months for protection against COVID-19. Durability was better for preventing critical COVID-19 disease. Now, again, what the fuck do these words mean? Critical, severe, hospitalization. These words are purposefully vague, and they don't really give us any information. What's critical? What makes COVID critical? When you need to go to the hospital? Well, what's the metric for when you need to go to the hospital? Do you have health insurance? So if you don't have health insurance, COVID isn't critical? Like, I'm just like, what? You know what I mean? Like, how do we define these terms? You never hear definitions. Does anyone remember the Omicron wave when millions of motherfuckers got Omicron a couple years ago? And the meme was, oh, don't worry, guys. Omicron, mild. This was like right before Christmas, by the way. The CDC was like, don't worry. Omicron, mild. It's mild, bruh. Then we found out a year later Omicron was way more dangerous. And it does things that are very similar to HIV against your immune system. But don't worry. It's mild, bro. Go back to work. Go back to work. Someone's got to flip those patties. It's mild, bro. It's like going to a fucking, like, authentic Mexican restaurant and ordering the mild hot sauce. You know what I mean? Like, it's a motherfucking disease. It's a virus. Ah, come on. Anyway, this article is garbage, but this is something I want to talk about here. Only 20% of U.S. adults receiving booster doses, despite the CDC's September 22 recommendation that all vaccinated people 12 and older receive a booster dose. The vast majority of Americans have not received it. They already won. They won. They won the war. I really don't know what the fuck I need you to tell. Or I don't even know what I need you to hear for you out. If you don't understand that, then I'm fumbling my words a little bit. But they already won. Why are we even talking about this anymore? They won. They won. They already won. As of May 10, 2023, only 1 in 5 U.S. adults had received the bivalent booster shot. And most of that group had received their last vaccine dose more than a year ago, the CDC reported. Uptake has been low. It makes complete sense for adults, especially those in high-risk groups, including the elderly, to have the bivalent shot if they already haven't had one. COVID is still with us. Vaccine provides broader coverage. So again, they're actually given some decent information, but it's at the bottom of the article, and at the top they're like, it doesn't do anything, right? Because people don't actually read articles. And again, this is what's leading to me wishing death on America. If you are too stupid to understand this shit, I'm sorry. You are a net negative on society. And if you are a net negative on society, I don't want to deal with you. It's just that simple. I want all 80%, if you haven't gotten the COVID vaccine, the sooner the better. Please emigrate this planet as soon as possible. That's really all I can tell you. That's my only suggestion. Either get the vaccine and wear a mask when you leave the house, or I will actively pray for your downfall. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. I don't know what to fucking tell you. I'm at the end of my ropes. I just don't care anymore. I'm sick and tired of living in a country, living in a world. Because you think Europe's better? You think Australia's better? You think fucking Asia's better? Think South America? Africa? Antarctica? It's all shit. The whole world is shit. Does anyone remember when Joe Biden, by the way, said if any president who has 100,000 Americans die on their watch shouldn't be allowed to be president? Remember that? I'm gonna solve COVID. What did Joe Biden do? Only Joe Biden could convince Democrats that COVID's not real. Trump couldn't. Trump tried to convince Democrats that COVID's not real. He failed. Joe Biden came in, picked up the torch, and convinced the Democrats that COVID's not real. It's just unfathomable rage is what I feel on this. You ready for some fun stuff? I got one more. Let's drink some more coffee, by the way. I'm just going to show the headline. SARS-CoV-2 infection started from a child, and nearly 70% of COVID-affected U.S. households. Go back to school. Go back to school. The kids are immune. Not true, by the way. We know it causes developmental disabilities. We know it causes brain damage in kids. There are kids that have gotten COVID that are, 3-4 years ago now that are missing certain developmental milestones. Walking late, still crawling, at the age of like 4. This is other shit I've read. Open the schools, kids are immune, but they bring the virus home and kill their parents. According to the CDC, 99% of people in this country under the age of 18 have had COVID at least once. Now, I have had COVID 0 times. I have not left my house. But 99% of kids under the age of 18 have gotten COVID at least once. At least once, because we stopped counting. So most of them probably have had it like 12 times because they're forced to go to school every day. But we count one and then job well done. This fucking shit, I'm so sick and tired of living in this country. I'm so fucking tired of being in a country of fools. Of witnessing parents abuse their children by sending them to a public school system that is killing them. And them. Not just the children, but is killing them, the parents. I hate living in a country like this that abuses children to such a degree. Now, I am someone that believes that school in this country is in the same situation as police in this country. Schooling in this country is inherently abusive, and the system needs to be completely eradicated and reformed and start from scratch. That's my opinion on schooling. I have the same position on schools as I do on prisons and police. I think schools are garbage. Right? Schools exist to torture children, to force feed them things that are not true, and to destroy their ability to think critically and to be creative. Schools are designed to turn human beings from beautiful, lovely creatures into drones and workers. That is what school is in this country. Now, there are some exceptions. I'm not saying every teacher is evil. I'm not saying every teacher is in on the scam. A lot of teachers are trying their best in a system that is designed for them to fail. It's designed for them to fail. Now, I do believe that there are good teachers. I don't believe there are good cops, but I do believe there are good teachers. People become teachers because they want to help kids. And then they realized, oh wait, the school system is designed for me to do the exact opposite. "70% of COVID-affected U.S. households started from a child." I haven't even read the body of this yet, but just like, think about this. Just think about it, man. Yeah! While kids were the least affected by COVID-19 disease. Now, I just want to say this. That is untrue and unproven. We don't know how kids are affected yet. Now, again, I have seen studies that have said that children have been born with COVID, right? Their parents had COVID and recovered, theoretically, right? Recovered, right? Because we live in this world where people think you can recover from COVID. like people think, oh yeah, I because I'm no longer sneezing right now, I've recovered. Anyway, so parents who recovered from COVID, gave birth to a child that has COVID. Right? And we also know, again, COVID has been around for 3-4 years now. We know that there have been studies that have found that when babies get COVID, it can affect their brain development. We don't know exactly how COVID affects kids. All we do know is it affects kids differently than it affects adults. That's all the information we have, is that it affects them differently. Now, dummies are going to read that as, well, they're immune. Yeah! As soon as you turn 18, like, your force field goes away or whatever the fuck in these people's minds. Right? But really, the only thing we do know is that there's different effects depending on your age and what other risk factors you had. If you're obese, COVID is going to affect you differently. If you have heart disease, COVID is going to affect you differently. If you are a child, COVID is going to affect you differently. If you are an amputee, COVID is going to affect you differently. If you're immunocompromised, COVID... It's pretty fucking basic science. But Americans, a little too dumb for that, so... A study suggests that 70% of nearly 850,000 U.S. household transmissions of SARS-CoV-2 virus originated with a child. The study published in JAMA Network Open showed that younger children were more likely to spread the virus. Oh, wow! Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed? You mean kids that fucking spit all over and put toys in their mouth? Right? Like those kids are spreading germs? Whoa! Ooh, wow! Like, the idea that it's a surprise. That have, like, are we, like, we're children. And somehow, like, I know that, like, you know, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which I'm sure most Americans have in some degree, you know, forces us to forget massive fragments of our childhoods. But, I mean, we all were children. We all put toys in our mouths. We all spit for fun. I mean, I just spat for fun on my show. Like, and we're supposed to act like it's magic that somehow kids are transmitting COVID more? Like, that's just magic? We don't know the mechanism? Boston Children's Hospital's research team gave smartphone-connected thermometers to 848,591 households with 1,391,095 members who... Jesus, these numbers. I mean, I'm glad they're precise. Because it's, you know, I prefer precise numbers rather than rounds. Who took 23,153,925 temperature readings from October 2019 to October 2020. Fevers were a proxy for infection among 166,170 households with both adult and child participants, 51.9% of households with multiple participants. There were, Jesus fucking Christ, there were let's just skip all this. In these households, 38,787 transmissions occurred, 40% of which were child to child, 29% child to adult, 20% adult to child, and 9% adult to adult. So it turns out kids are COVID factories. It's almost like we knew this 4 years ago, and that's why we closed the schools 4 years ago. Does anyone remember that? Does anyone remember when we shut down the schools? Because kids were spreading the virus? And then the virus got more transmissible, and it got more infectious, and then we opened the schools because Joe Biden. Right? We all voted for Joe Biden because he's going to fix COVID. What was his first thing he did? Open the schools, and then COVID skyrocketed. Of all household transmissions, 70% began with a child, with the proportion fluctuating weekly between 36 and 87%. Children aged 8 years and younger were more likely to be the source of transmission than those 9 to 17, 7.6 versus 5.8 percentage. During most of the pandemic, the proportion of transmission from children was negatively correlated with new community COVID-19 cases. More than 70% of transmissions in households with adults and children were from a pediatric index case, but this percentage fluctuated weekly. Once U.S. schools reopened in the fall of 2020, now again, not all U.S. schools opened in the fall of 2020. There were a lot of holdouts in a lot of blue states, right? So, but a majority of schools did open during Trump's last couple months. But when Joe Biden came into office again, he mandated that every other school that was holding out has to open, right? So that's a factor. The researcher said the finding that pediatric COVID-19 transmission was negatively correlated with new community cases during most of the pandemic is consistent with that of a previous study. When the incidence of COVID-19 increases, adults in the community are at higher risk of infection. This may increase the likelihood that adults become the index case in a household transmission and explain the negative correlation we observed. Also, when the COVID-19 incidence is low, overall use of non-pharmaceutical interventions might decrease, leading to increased incidence of non-SARS-CoV-2 pathogens, which may be more common in children. The team concluded that children had an important role in spreading SARS-CoV-2 and that in-person schooling also resulted in substantial spread. Now, if I haven't explained on any of my shows why having kids in the year 2023 is a bad idea, I hope this is added to the list. Again, I'm just blown away. I'm blown away. And I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be blown away. As a kid, I used to believe, as a child, I was lied to. I actually believed that adults were smarter than me. I actually believed that. I don't know how many of you believed that when you were a kid. I don't know if that's common. But I actually and genuinely believed that adults were smarter than me when I was young. And it really wasn't until COVID that I have fundamentally reversed that. I think kids are smarter than adults. They might have less trivia in their heads. They may have less memorized flashcards of capitalist disinformation and American mythology in their heads. But on average, kids are smarter. They care more about other people. They love other people. They want to play with people. They just want to be playful, loving animals in a world that is designed to break them. And it is fundamentally true that, I said this before, but the average person having a child in this country, when it comes to their mental age, their emotional age, the average child bearer in this country is probably 3 or 4 years old emotionally, maybe 5 or 6. Because when kids are 3 and 4 years old, they're traumatized by their parents. They're abused, right? The average, the norm, is that adults abuse their kids. That's the normal thing. Now, when I was a kid and when I was being abused, I thought I was special. I thought I was uniquely awful as a child. And I didn't know that other kids probably had similar levels of abuse. Now, I think I had it pretty bad compared to the average, but if kids aren't abused and broken when they're children before school, school does the last punch. First grade, second grade, kindergarten. This is where children's humanity goes to die, is in early years of elementary school. Once you're in 3rd, 4th grade, your personality is pretty much ingrained. You can talk to 2nd grade teachers, and they can tell you with extreme accuracy. There have been studies that have said 2nd grade teachers predict the outcomes of their students. And then 20 years, 30 years later, they compare the predictions to what actually happened with those people. And they found that with a good amount of accuracy, 2nd grade teachers can predict how people will be in 20, 30 years. They can predict if someone's going to be a drug addict. They can predict if someone is, going to be poor, or they can predict if someone is going to go to college and get a diploma and become super smart. And again, I don't even know what to say about this shit. I mean, it really is. We live in a broken fucking country. We live in a broken fucking world. We live in a destroyed fucking world. The world has been destroyed. It's just over. It's over. I see this, and I have no faith that this species will even survive. Climate change. We did nothing. We've known about climate change for over 100 years. We did nothing. We've known about the flu for 100 years. We did nothing. I watch a lot of movies. And now, I don't want to, take it too seriously here, but just think about this as a soft metaphor. When the climax occurs in a movie is when shit gets real. A phone call is placed and a character has been shielded from the events of the movie, fundamentally, learns something and they get thrust into the action, main characters start dying, people start doing their final speeches. I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel like we're in the last third of the movie here. I'm starting to feel that we're in the last 5 minutes of the movie here. And now our movie is not 2 hours. Our movie is billions of years. But I feel like we're very close to the end. I have no hope. There's all kinds of polls that say, people, millennials, Generation Z, they have no hope for the future. How could you? Having hope for the future makes you a schizophrenic. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. If you genuinely believe that the future is going to be great, I'm happy for you. But it's fundamentally, it's not real. In the same way that, playing with toys and having your Lego figures punch each other and that's not real. They're not actually punching each other. You're doing it. Right? So again, if you believe that there's hope in the world, that's all you, bro. You are manufacturing that hope inside of your brain. I don't know how you're doing it, but it's not real. It is fundamentally illogical, irrational, and not real. There is no hope. When we live in a country where 80% of adults! These are grown adults. Refuse a vaccine that is free, safe, and effective. 80% of adults have said, nah. 93% of adults in this country don't eat vegetables. They don't eat vegetables. Americans don't eat vegetables. I mean, that shit, again, I've said that a lot. The fiber statistic, I know this. But that shit, it never fails to blow my mind. It's just that, again, fundamentally, the average adult, emotionally and mentally, is 4 years old. A calcified 4-year-old. Not a 4-year-old with hopes and dreams. Not a 4-year-old with an active imagination and a cheerful demeanor. But a 4-year-old who has been frozen. A 4-year-old who has slowly been withering away. You ever watch Dragon Ball Z? Anybody? Where are the anime fans at? Yeah, raise your hand. Does anyone know the guy Cell? What he does is he sucks people's life force. I remember watching that shit when I was a kid. I was like, damn, I don't even know how that's possible to show on TV. But when Cell is sucking their life force and they get drained away, they become gray, they get wrinkly, and then their skin falls. Right? That is the average American up here. They're just a wounded child who, instead of dealing with their wounds, decided to lash out and fuck everyone else up. That's why 80% of adults are so fucking dumb that they don't get a vaccine. And the same way that the kid doesn't want to take their medicine Adults don't want to take their medicine. In the same way that the kid needs the airplane for them to eat broccoli, adults don't even have an airplane. I don't know what to say, man. I wish I could do this show and be happy and do all that stuff like the other guys do, but I can't. I'm depressed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am depressed. Both when it comes to the news, when it comes to the world, and just on a personal level. I am fucked up. I am at the end of my ropes here. I don't know, like I just experienced my fourth birthday in isolation. Now again, all of my other birthdays were in isolation. But like, I don't know, man. I thought I would become an adult. I'm 27. Right? I thought 4 years ago, I'm an adult now. I can start going out on my birthdays. I can start getting drunk on my birthdays. Now I just get drunk in my bedroom, alone, watching kids' cartoons. That's what I do. Because there's nothing else. It's over. I don't know what to tell you. I'm done. I gave up. You would ask me the version of me a couple years ago, I would have believed. COVID. This is it. Literally, the government, Trump, remember when Trump was in office and everyone was like, Trump's trying to kill us with COVID? I thought that, I know, right? I thought people would be like, oh shit, the government's denying that there's a pandemic. People are gonna do something, right? No, they just voted for Joe Biden, who said the same thing, the same lie. Trump lies, you're wrong, Orange Man. Biden lies? Well, all right, Jack. So, I don't know, man. I'm done. I'm done with caring about the world. I'm done with pretending that, I mean, like, you ever see these fucking pointless conversations? You ever see this shit? People talking about, we need to affect public policy by making these reforms. No reforms are going to change this. No, like, it's all a waste of your time. The only way that this country would ever possibly get its shit together, that I'm convinced of, is if people break from capitalism. And I mean that very seriously. I think most liberals, I think most leftists in this country, people that identify as left-wing, are still capitalists at their core. People that buy flashy things just to look cool, people that buy fancy clothes just to fit in, you're a capitalist. I don't give a fuck if you're fucking wearing a Che Guevara shirt or a fucking whatever. You're a capitalist. You're buying soda. You're addicted to Wendy's. You're a capitalist. Actions speak louder than words. You're going to restaurants in a pandemic. You're a capitalist. I'm sick and tired of being gaslit. I go on YouTube. I go on Twitter. I go on political subreddits. I go on political Discord channels. And it's a bunch of leftists, self-proclaimed leftists, behaving as capitalists. And I'm not saying you can't be a leftist and have nice things. But what I'm saying is, we need to define what nice things are. Why do you do things? Why do you buy certain shoes? Why do you buy a certain kind of car? Why do you buy a certain kind of jewelry? Is it because you like it? Or is it because you want other people to treat you differently and oftentimes better? Do you want to wear fancy shoes so that people look at you with envy? You're a capitalist. Now, again, I'm not saying we can't have things in our lives. Things, items, materialists. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, things that you like and you purchase, things that you interact with should benefit you and only you. Don't do things for other people. Don't do things for approval. Don't buy fancy shit just because that's the script that you were brainwashed as a kid to believing that success means I have a fancy car. Do you need a fancy car? No, you don't. Do you need those $400 shoes? No, you don't. Do you need that super 5,000 studded gold necklace? No, you don't. Now, if you want it, that's a whole different story. Again, I have a lot of shit. I collect video games. I don't collect video games for other people to look at me with envy. I don't even show my video game collections. I don't talk about my video game collections. I used to, but I don't anymore. I don't care. I do it for me. And that's how people should behave. They should stop worrying about how other people feel about them. And this goes back into COVID when it comes to masks. Do you take your mask off because you don't want people to look at you funny? You're a slave. You're not free. You're not free. You're not free. If you do things at the behest of others, you're a slave. Oh, I'm afraid of being asked the question, why are you wearing a mask? So I take it off. You are not a thinking person. You don't have free will. You're a sheep. And most people in this country, they don't even know it. They don't even know it. They genuinely don't even know how fucking deep the shit they're in even is. Now again, I'm not saying you can't have nice things, but what I'm saying is actions speak louder than words. If you are a self-proclaimed leftist and you don't care about COVID, you don't talk about COVID, you're not a leftist, you're a capitalist, and you're a neo-Nazi. That's it. I really don't care. I'm sick of these motherfuckers. I'm sick of people compromising. I'm sick of people using right-wing arguments. I'm sick of right-wing framing. I'm sick of left-wing YouTube. I'm sick of all these motherfuckers. This content economy. Are you fucking kidding me? This content economy where we're all fucking incentivized to talk about some stupid shit that fucking Ron DeSantis said. Meatball fuckface Ron is saying some shit, so every left-wing YouTuber's got to do their fucking rebuttal. It's all a bunch of noise. And I don't care anymore. So anyway, that's how I'm feeling. I'm depressed. I don't know what to tell you. I'm depressed. And if you're not depressed, I mean, you got to get me something that you have. Because I've tried a lot of drugs. And they help sometimes in the short term. But overall, I am fucking at the end of my ropes. So, there's your COVID segment. There you go. Anyway, that's my show. So if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free. Thank you, Scaly Bubble, for the membership. I appreciate that. I don't know if I've seen you around here before, but thank you, I guess. Oh. The thing about it that really is like it's depressing, right? Because it's like, you know, when I got into like politics, you know, like online politics, on the ground politics, activism, right? I thought, and again, this is my bad, I genuinely believed that like people actually wanted good things. People actually wanted universal health care. Like, you know when leftists like do those polls or they say it's actually popular Left-wing ideology is popular. That's cope. They live in a fantasy world. You ever see that? You see that shit on, like, the TYT adjacent people. You see that shit on, like, some, you know, even more intelligent people. They still fall for it. Americans don't want free healthcare. 80% of them refused free healthcare. Polls mean nothing. Polls mean fuck all. When someone is polled and asked, do you support left-wing position X? That gives me no information and it's useless. It means nothing. But a lot of these people, they still believe that left-wing ideology is popular. They do. A lot of these people are selling you snake oil, thinking it's just a matter of time. The kids are going to come in and vote the bad guys away. All it does is redirect the energy into something useless. Have I watched The Princess Bride yet? No, I have not. The most important thing we can do is raise class consciousness until people hate the rich. That's the thing is, I don't think that that's the solution. Like, yes, I believe step one is raise awareness, right? But, like, raising awareness doesn't really get us anywhere, you know? Like, all it does is make people more depressed, really. I mean, fuck. I wish I didn't have awareness. I wish I wasn't a conscious human being. I wish I was not self-aware. I wish I was a zombie just like the rest of them. I wish I was sleepwalking just like the average person. But unfortunately, I'm built different, I guess. Hey, let me look. I had a super chat earlier. Oh, fuck. The super chat timed out. What the fuck is this bullshit, man? YouTube fucking sucks. How do you... Okay. I have to, like, go to a different page. No, I don't want to fucking... Why do I have to verify my fucking phone number to look at my... I'm sorry, if you give me a super chat, I can't see it. YouTube is now asking me to verify my fucking phone number and do some fucking shit just to look at my super chat. So, I'm sorry, thank you. But I couldn't read it. Feel free to repost your message if you'd like. God, this website is fucking asshole. You know the phrase, this is ass? I never understood that phrase. I personally think ass is good. But the one part of ass that I'm not a fan of, asshole. That's where the stinky stuff comes out. So I don't know. When I say something is asshole, that is my interpretation of the phrase, that is ass, which I don't believe is an acceptable use of the English language. That's just my opinion, though. The solution is to gather people and solve problems that the government refuses to fix. Okay, so the solution is to solve problems. I agree. That's like some Hillary Clinton ass fucking slogan. No offense, I'm just... Do I think there should be revolts in this country? No. Revolts aren't gonna do shit. Revolts in this country are gonna end up just like 2020. A bunch of dumb fucks flailing around with noble purposes and doing nothing. That's the only thing. 2020 taught me protests are useless and revolution is not going to happen. You think you're going to revolt against the military? It's just not going to happen. The revolution is impossible. Even if it was possible, I don't support it. But it's impossible, so... Protesting doesn't do anything. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. But doesn't do anything. If you go into a protest thinking, I'm going to change the world, you are a dumb fuck. The only value protests have is meeting new people and organizing in a community for the future. Protests in the short term do nothing. That's it. So if there's ever a protest in your city and you're doing that whole thing the only possible value is connections and meeting people and learning more about the issues at hand, because you're not going to change anything. Protests don't do anything. The only value of a protest is collective effervescence. If we all went to the bank and collectively withdrew for a day or a week, withdrew what? Soul life? What are we withdrawing? Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of my protesting, and I know it did nothing. Now, I love the fact that I flipped off the former president of Brazil. That's one of my favorite protests I've ever been to, is the former president of Brazil came to Washington. He looked at me, we locked eyes as I gave him a double middle finger. I'm proud of that. And you know what? It did nothing, but I'm happy about it. I think it's a cool story, right? So it's like, yeah, Ron DeSantis, he comes around and fucks around. Yeah, fuck him up. Give him the middle finger. It's a good story, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to change the world, you know? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, they get involved in protests and they think that that actually is doing anything. I've been to a lot of protests, and you see people that are there and they genuinely believe that you march through the street a couple times and change happens. Because people have been lied to about our history. People were lied to about the Civil Rights Movement. People don't even know how the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act got passed. People in this country genuinely believe that, like, Martin Luther King was like a noble peacemaker and led non-violent protests, and all the white fucking racists were like, you know what? They're not violent. I was wrong. Let's give them rights. That's what the average American believes about the Civil Rights Movement. It's fucking insane. The super chat was thanking you. Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I don't want to paraphrase. But yeah, YouTube is like fucking me. I'm like, I don't know. I'll deal with it later. I got too much to deal with fucking shitty like 3-factor authentication just to check my fucking super chats. Oh man. Yeah, direct action is the only action that matters. And then, like, and that's like, it's not a guarantee that it matters, but it's the only action that could theoretically matter. Everything else is a waste of time. Now, I consider direct action to be helping people interpersonally, being a good person to other people, being kind to other people, helping people when they're down. That's direct action. You've got someone in your life who is not feeling well, reach out, try to help. Like, that's the only thing that I think that actually has power, that we as individuals can do. Like, we can, you know, opine about, like, oh, if we had 1 million person march on Washington, that, like, we can opine about all this shit, but really the only things that matter, that truly matter, are helping other people, because that's the only way to actually reverberate positive thinking in our world. Yeah, like, for me, when I actually looked into the history of the civil rights movement and realized every single detail I was taught in school was a lie, like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's pretty much everything else. Like, almost everything that they teach you in school when it comes to history is a fucking lie. And then you got Republicans freaking out because schools are trying to start telling the truth. And schools are not where truth gets told. You know? That's why we're seeing all these book bans. Like, some teacher somewhere, like 5 years ago, was like, I don't feel like lying to my students. Let me say something that's actually truthful. And then now, now we got book bans. Now we got CRT bans. Now we got all this shit, right? So... yeah, that's the thing, is civil disobedience is often lumped in with violence with the average American, right? I've done a lot of protests, right? I've walked in the middle of the street illegally during protests, and I've been accused of committing violence. I've sat in the middle of intersections on busy highways for protests and been accused of committing violence. We gotta peacefully protest. If you ever hear the word peacefully protest come out of someone's mouth, run. Run! I'm just, as someone who's protested and been in many different protests. Now again, peaceful protest doesn't mean that you need to throw bricks at people. I'm not asking or advocating for violence. But anyone that says peaceful protest, that's a dog whistle for I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to convince other people to do nothing. If you're standing on the sidewalk with a sign, that's nothing. It's a peaceful protest, aka nothing. The only way to protest things effectively is to cause disruption, to actually break the law. Now, again, violence is not required. But this idea that we have to protest the right way, anyone that tells you that you got to protest the right way, they're a cop. And they might not be actually employed by the state, but mentally, they're a cop. They've got cop brain. They've been brainwashed by the system into propagating police lies. Yeah, I mean, we still live in a world where Christianity is mainstream. I know, today I skipped on the religion stuff a little bit, but when 70% of a country believes in God, all hope is lost. They don't even believe that the life they're living is real. Talk about psychosis. If you believe that there's an afterlife, then you fundamentally don't believe that the life you're living right now is real and valuable. And if you don't believe that the life you're living is real and valuable, being a fucking piece of shit is the only logical outcome. That's why everyone is a fucking piece of shit. Yo, Andrew Kenway, oof, on Cornell West running for president under the People's Party. That's not real. That's not real. I'm sitting here right now. I'm going to tell you that is not real. That's not real. You're lying to me. And not only is it so not real, I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of punching those words into Google because I know that you are fucking with my shit. So, nice try. Retro boomer, fuck 'em. That's all. Just fuck 'em. Y'all, I'm not fucking falling for it. You are not gonna get me with the Cornell West is so stupid he fell for the most obvious scam in the world meme. I'm not falling for it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, come on now. At least you have to try harder to get me like that. All right. I'm punching it into Google. I fell for it. I fell for it. All right, fuck it. Let's do one last segment, all right? God. I mean, why are you going to make me do this? Why? Why? I could have just stopped my show. I could be eating fucking breakfast, lunch right now. Instead, y'all motherfuckers. Jesus. I can't with you people. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of my own audience. All right. So this is breaking news apparently. I don't know. Somebody just told me this. It could be today, it could be yesterday. I'm not sure. Cornell West running for president under the People's Party. Now, Cornell West seems like he seems like a great guy on a personal, interpersonal level. I disagree with his, the way he uses religious framing. I think religion is inherently evil. And I think people that are trying to use religion to organize people, I think that they're playing a failing game. That's just my opinion. If someone believes in God, fundamentally, they're just not going to be able to take the real world seriously. That's my opinion. He's also running under the People's Party ticket. Now, I know Cornell West fell for the People's Party meme in 2020. But since 2020, the People's Party has been... Well, okay, what is the People's Party? Okay? The People's Party is a pyramid scheme. It is a money laundering scam. That's what it is. Operated by a sex pest. If you are a woman and you want to work with the People's Party, the guy, your boss, is a sex pest. He DMs female workers of the People's Party, volunteers, by the way, not workers, because workers implies they get paid, volunteers. This is why it's a money laundering scam and a pyramid scheme, right? Because people donate their time to make money for Nick Brana. That's what it is. And in return, they get Nick Brana sex pesting them. The People's Party is garbage. It's a money laundering scam. But we can all pretend that Cornell West doesn't know that. That Cornell West launched his camp. I haven't watched the video yet. Now again, Cornell West, he can say all the right things. That's great. But if he is not going to primary Biden, and he's instead going to run under the People's Party, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Now, again, the People's Party is a scam. They don't have ballot access. They know they don't have ballot access enough to win the states. They know that they're not going to win anything. They know that the only thing that this is going to do is funnel money to Nick Brana and possibly Cornell West. And so, I just want to say that much before I watch the video. Now, again, I know I'm gonna get a lot of people in the comment section that are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you didn't even." So let's watch the video.
Justice, what I've been in these bleak times, I have decided to run for truth and justice, which takes the form of running for president of the United States as a candidate for the People's Party. I enter into quest for truth. I enter into quest for justice.
The People's Party platform is explicitly anti-vaccine and anti-trans. Nick Brana, who is the chair of the People's Party and rules it with an iron fist, personally and publicly expressed his hatred of transgender people and referred to them as groomers in some instances. Okay? So if you were to tell me that this is an AI deepfake, I would believe it. Why is Cornell West going to run for truth and justice under a fascist party that's a money laundering scam? Your guess is as good as mine. Why didn't Cornell West run as an independent? Your guess is as good as mine. You would have more power and influence running as an independent than under the People's Party. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid to run under the People's Party. So again, regardless of whatever this is, all I'm seeing here is someone I used to respect telling me that they've decided to become a scam artist. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I don't want to sit here and say Cornell West is a scam artist, but he is, in this instance, acting as a scam artist, whether intentionally, unintentionally, and whether he will continue or switch or change his behavior, I'm not sure. All I can say right now is that this is a video produced by a scam artist and to suck people's money into a money laundering scheme.
And the presidency is just one vehicle to pursue that truth and justice, what I've been trying to do all of my life. I come from a tradition where I care about you. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy. Democracy creates disruption. It creates an eruption. It creates an interruption. Wide from below, the energies of everyday people is manifest. And I know there are precious people in your life who you care for.
Like, the thing is, like, all of this video is like, I support good things, I am pro good things, and I'm going to tell you that they're not happening. That's what this video is. Wow. Okay, Cornell, you like good things. All right. Great. Now what? You know? What? You like good things, so you signed up to work for a fucking abusive sex pest freak? Because you like good things? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, he can run as an independent. He doesn't have to run in the Democrat. He could run as a Green, for Christ's sake. The People's Party is the most obvious grifter scam in the history of scams. So there's two options here, and both of them are not good for Cornel West. One is Cornel West is such a fucking gullible, easily manipulated buffoon that he's willing to publicly embarrass himself because some smooth-talking snake oil salesman lied to him about something. That's option one. That's actually the preferable option. Option two, he's in on the scam. Like, that's option two. Option one, he's being manipulated and he's dumb as fuck, but he's still at heart a good guy. Option two, he's in on the scam. And I'm going to be honest with you, I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you which one is which. I don't know. I'm in the 50-50, sitting on the fence on that one. He could be a scam artist. He could just be dumb.
That's why it's important for you to be involved, important for you to participate. We're not talking about hating anybody. We're talking about loving. We're talking about affirming. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed.
Okay, like, now again, if this is like Cornel West announcing his podcast, I'm in. Great video. If this is Cornel West announcing he's going on a media tour and he's going to march through the streets and he's going to, you know, start a 1 million man march on Washington, I'm in. I'm in. I'm all in. But, okay, there's bad things in the world and you like good things. How the fuck does running for president under the People's Party do anything? I'm just like, what? You know, what? Really?
To the margins, because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon. Because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon.
I'm just like, okay. What are we talking about with Ukraine here? Because I know that Nick Brana is like every Ukrainian is a neo-Nazi kind of guy. Like Jimmy Dore is they literally believe that if you were born in Ukraine, you are a Nazi for life. That's what these people believe. So is Cornel West bucking the People's Party? Or is, like, what does that mean? The truth about Ukraine? I'm curious what that means. Now again, I'm critical of the military-industrial complex, but like, Like, I don't know, when you say shit like the truth about Ukraine, I mean, like, you gotta expand on that. You can't just drop that in there without any fucking substance.
A big tech.
Neo-fascists like Brother Trump or milquetoast neoliberals like Brother Biden. Wow, I'm so happy to make a world-shaking decision. You know what I mean?
Well, I know gangsters when I see them. And gangster's not a subjective expression. It's an objective condition. Do we have what it takes? We shall see.
Well, the answer is no. He doesn't have what it takes. It's not going to happen. But, like, I don't care about watching the rest of the...
But some of us are going to go down fighting, go down swinging with style and a smile.
Yeah, this is going down fighting by, like, printing out or buying a cardboard cutout of your enemy and, like, punching the cardboard until your hands bleed and then passing out because you forgot to drink water. That's this version of going down fighting. Like, you're not actually going to challenge the establishment. You're going to fucking punch the cardboard cutout and think you're doing a great job and marching all the way to the bank with your fucking money laundering, scam artist, pyramid scheme, cocksucking bullshit run by an anti-woke sex pest who fucking publicly denounced transgenderism and is like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this garbage, dude? I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I, no joke, thought y'all were trolling me. That's why I didn't take the... But no, I mean, like, this is a troll. This is a troll job. Is this an AI video? Like, how do we know that this is Cornell West? He's verified. That doesn't tell us much. How do we know that this is Cornell West? How do we know that Elon Musk didn't buy or take his account and post an AI video? We don't know that. But you know what? If that's the only way that I will have respect for Cornell West. Is if it comes out, yeah, that's a deep fake. I didn't make that video. Which, you know what, he should totally do that. And you know what, I would respect him, even if he did make the video and he is lying about it being a deep fake or whatever, I would still respect him if he just came out and said, you know what, that's not me, it's an AI. I would respect him more, even if he's lying about it, even if he doesn't take accountability. Like,
accenting the best in you and trying to tease out the best in me. Let's do it together.
Stupid fucking video, stupid fucking announcement, stupid fucking grifter scam artist party. And it's sad to see them, you know, I guess coax high profile figures into giving them legitimacy. It's garbage. It's sad. But you know what else is sad? The Marianne Williamson campaign. Now, again, I'm going to vote for Marianne in the primary. I've already said this. I support anyone who's not Biden, okay? And RFK Jr. Jesus fucking Christ. But it's like, at least Marianne is actually fucking trying. He's actually fucking trying. Let's go on the website. So volunteer and donate. What does the donate link go to? I probably shouldn't do this, son, just in case any pop-ups happen. Yeah, I don't know if this donation goes through the People's Party. I'm looking at the information. It doesn't really say. Paid for by Cornell West for president. I'll look into what that is later. But I don't know, man. That shit's sad. I really don't know what else to say. I mean... Alright, so we get a little hint on the Ukraine policy here. End the wars. Bring our troops home and invest those trillions of war dollars into American communities. Support veterans. Stop all foreign military aid. Close the bases. Disband NATO. And ban nuclear weapons globally. Now, here's the thing. I don't like NATO. I think NATO is garbage. But, like, disband NATO? Like, that's not really a policy. Right? Like, that's not a policy to disband NATO. Like, hey, everyone. My policy proposal, let's disband NATO. And then replace it with what? Just no military alliances? Okay, great. What planet do you live on? Now again, I agree. I wish we could disband NATO. I wish. But if we disband NATO, it's not like war is just fundamentally going to disappear. It's not like fucking Russia is just going to, oh, well, NATO's gone, so I'm going to pull out of Ukraine, even though I've already said that I want all Ukrainians to die because I don't believe in Ukrainian identity, and I want to invade the country because it's my country. Putin said that. But no, we're going to disband NATO, and then the Ukraine war is going to stop. And we're just going to ban nuclear weapons, right? Like, yeah, just ban them. I don't know, like, I'm just saying. Like, I don't know. Alright, this is another one. Expand civil liberties, blah, 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 restore free speech, press freedoms, and net neutrality. I agree. End surveillance, the drug war, mass incarceration. I agree. Protect choice, stop CBDCs, regulate AI, and break up big tech. Now, this is another, like, I don't know what's going on with left-wingers and this AI thing. But seeing people that are ostensibly left-wing talking about AI from a position of weakness and ignorance, to me, is honestly, it's annoying. I see this a lot in the Majority Report, which is one of the only left-wing shows I watch still. They all hate AI because I guess they just are too dumb to look into. I don't know. I love the Majority Report, by the way. I watch their show a lot. But it's like this, like, reflexive, oh, is it AI? Evil! 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 Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, yes, regulate AI is a good thing, but I want more specifics. We need to regulate it in the sense that corporations shouldn't be allowed to own AI. We need to regulate it in the sense that if you get fired because AI replaces your job, you deserve like a severance package, or maybe we need to have like a universal basic income. AI is fundamentally a good thing, okay? It's just a good thing. I'm sorry. This reflexive AI is evil shit that I'm seeing everywhere, I'm sorry, that's fucking bullshit too. But again, it's not that I think that Cornell West is a, well, I don't know actually. I have to look more into this. But I was going to say, it's not that I think he's a bad person. But if I do find out more information, like, again, it's either he's being scammed or he's part of the scam. And if he's being scammed, like, okay, we'll see how it plays out. If he's part of the scam, which is very possible, there you go. I've seen Sam's take on AI on his mirror. Yeah, Sam Cedar is, in my opinion, you know, and no disrespect to anyone else. I'm not trying to be a call-out post or anything. It's just that, to me, honestly, like, at this point, Sam Cedar is the only one in Majority Report that I think I agree with the most. And I don't mean to shout them out in a negative way. I watch their show. It's just, that's just something that came to mind. I'm not trying to start any fucking bullshit or anything. The AI narratives are strategic and obfuscatory. Obfuscatory. Interesting. I know about the word obfuscate, but I don't know if I've ever read aloud obfuscatory as a word. But anyway, almost no one understands what's going on with tech. Like, that's the other thing. Again, it's speaking from a place of weakness and ignorance. That's my problem, right? Is when people are like, oh, it's technology? Bad. I don't like Peter Thiel, therefore technology is bad. And that's like, it's just the reactionary stuff, you know? It's just, you know, it's constructive feedback that no one will care about. Anyway, Cornell West. There you go. Let me post that video for some ad revenue. Yeah! Making money more ethically than Cornell West is under the People's Party, I assure you. Wow, 2.5 hour show. Jesus fucking Christ. Y'all motherfuckers, I swear to God, you don't know how good you have it. 2.5 hour show, my asshole. When's the last time I did a 2.5 hour show? Hey, Rufus. Jesus, I haven't done a 2.5 hour show probably in like a year. Anyway, there's a 2.5 hour show for you. I will be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching. And there you go. So, shut the fuck up. And enjoy the rest of your day.